Okay, what I'm going to do here is remove a profile that I had followed. I've been on and off this app. I won't talk much about it, even though I have in other videos um, about the networking through it. And not only just normal networking, external contacting or trying to make contact with everything I contact. Eavesdropping, one, two, more than likely also kind of ish like law enforcement. And when I say like ish, because some people have said even if they're law enforcement, they've crossed the line. So it's not law enforcement now, it's corruption. And if proven, then they can be held liable for it. But anyways, the Live Me app, I've had even toxic family members you wouldn't believe to maybe say good things or whatnot, or even allow someone to know of being in danger or something affecting them, tell me straight up it's affecting them. So I'm gonna go in my fan base. I found the guy's profile. Here's a secondary thing, is that I've had contact with somebody that has uh, nope, I'm following them. Okay. That has already previously kind of set the situation up. Uh, no. Okay, I'm not following them. Let's see what I got here. Total. I'm gonna go through all these lists. His name's Jay Faust, as everybody knows. I'll have to find out where he's connected. But that was his name that I typed in. And I'm gonna pause this and take a second to find the screenshot that I did. It is literally health-wise affecting not only myself but others around me per se. And that is the white tongue. It could even be fictitious pictures. It's just the setup behind it. Uh, and you'll see what I'm saying. White tongue. While right now I have white tongue, kind of like cotton mouth. Something wrong with the taste buds. Something. It's not bacterium, but it may be, but I haven't proven that. Uh, affecting the physical health system here. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay, these are just screenshots, and it looks like it's a Hispanic male person. At a beach with a kid, and the trash can is right up here. In the trash can, there's been the tasting of trash can and body stench of like plastic trash bag, whatnot. But this is one of the pictures that's on the profile, and now I can search his BIGO ID by BIGO ID. Maybe I already unfollowed because it's not saying I'm following him in the screenshot. Unfollowed him, but see how dusty his face is. It's kind of like having your food messed with, and you getting, even though his tongue's red, mine's completely white. Like there's something antioxidated or not that caused it to film up and thicken up. There's other pictures on this profile, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause real quick and go to the real profile and pull it up if it still exists. Now I think when I realized it, I've only had this situation. Maybe it wasn't following him. He sent me a 1 bean gift in this app, a reward for broadcasting something, and something maybe requiring it back. I don't know how to pit it, but it's rigged up. Pit it that way. And for the last 5 months, been sick, pretty sick after the individual tried to orchestrate some type of setup with it. a intelligible type of assault, or if it's not, I won't even say or, an intelligible, intellectual way of holding something against someone per se. I don't know. I'll be right back. Said I'll be right back after I go and try to find him by ID, and I realized I opened up the wrong app because these two apps are made by the same company. They're identical. They're a little bit different, but identical, and they do the same thing. So let me go back through this again. What we got? Friends. Did I make him friends? See, this app's kind of hard to deal with because you can't, I don't see how you search the situation there. I only have so many X amount of friends though. Fans. I'll go into ranking settings. Let's see what wallet does. Diamonds. Beans. Oh, I have 27 beans right now. Didn't know that. Diamonds. Well, when I find the info, I'll be right back. Okay, it was underneath a second profile. Yeah, profile, second profile, and like third. One of the kind of actual profile setup. Contributions. And he contributed. I don't know if I found him, but he contributed 1 bean. And if I realized, I think it said somewhere, I found out it was like 5 months ago, I think. And here's, well, maybe it's been longer than that because he's been on 9 months ago, so I was wrong with that. The last time he was on or broadcasted was 9 months ago. I have to figure out how that works out, so now I'm up to 9 months of being affected by this person. Now it's kind of weird, black guy holding a red shoe. His hand is black. Mexican in this, so I don't know who was taking the other photo, but what does it mean? My only meaning is this one here is pretty nasty. I mean, if you look at this, so I don't have to completely do anything. I think I already unfollowed if I did follow him, but that's the whole point. Somebody basically challenging something after leaving something behind. He left a bean behind, but now this is in a different category of I can unfollow the person and hopefully it changes the situation. I'm not following, I haven't responded, there shouldn't be any other connections besides this 1 bean, this little gift on my account from them. What should I do? Send it back to them? No more interaction, but something affecting that situation. I'll have to go back 9 months ago and see if I got any type of record of what I was doing in that area of time. And it could have been over 9 months ago. For the fact that's the last time I think either it's marked he broadcasted or he was on mine. I'm going to have to go with broadcasted. So he did broadcast himself a little bit. Leo, maybe a law enforcement officer, who knows? But I do know there has been chit chat and chitter chat of while they're utilizing a certain amount of profiling, eavesdropping on all the information that I have, little dumb shit like this, to where they're adding into my social life, social works, community, basic life, trying to play gang banging with it 1 minute, but orchestrating government authorization and controlment behind it the next. Like I am being behaviorally, not even just behaviorally unruly, but incompliant to a request of theirs, and I've been fully compliant with anything that I could say. But that's up to them to make the decision if that's compliance to them or not. Tell you how responsible you are and you're not doing good enough. Even though myself, everybody knows I've been really, really sick over, matter of fact, quite a few years, just never got better. But trying to force a person to be something they can't be due to physical disability or physical health problems. Overexerting, you need to run 5 miles a day when you have broke legs. If it isn't that severe and you have respiratory problems, per se, you can't require that person because it's good for you to run 5 miles. Average normal says yes, but you put the attribute of that person has respiratory problems. You don't want them running 5 miles a day just because it's supposedly good for normal people. Anyways, 1,000,000,000%, I know for a fact, not that I can bring that person in as a witness, while there's also relaying of this situation, so there's eavesdropping. I haven't told anybody, haven't been out of the house. It's a possibility others can see who contributed to me, so them profiling that way, getting in, it may not, I'm not going to say it may not be the individual, because it's pretty, I mean, this big thick tongue, even though his is red, mine's white, but everything else powdery around it. There's been other things, only to a sense I would understand, but like someone interfering with you and only the two parties know about the situation or something, or somebody victimizes you, you don't tell, or even if you do, and you go to a new city and you feel that nobody else in the new city, because it's a fresh start, would know anything about the situation, but somebody starts psychologically or emotionally trying to pick at you, if not assault, and they start representing, mimicking or mumbling or doing something coincidental to the victimization, identical, trying to intimidate, trigger the pains that you had either before or still having. So that's what I'm saying. They're playing with a lot of different triggers on top, trying to play mafioso, but there's a ton of law enforcement involved. And now understanding that, I've understood that since 2002, when law enforcement came in and arrested law enforcement. It makes no sense, and it makes sense. Due to corrupt acts, wrong enforcement. I keep saying jurisdictional, and I read into it now. Jurisdictional covers only the minimum of what I'm trying to explain, but it doesn't just mean out of range, out of their jurisdiction. If you put it in the right context that I started to understand again, jurisdiction isn't just the word that I need to use, that these people followed me out of state and the things that they was doing was illegal. They was, yes, law enforcement employed, maybe from another state, certified, whatever it be, but they mixed up and conjured it up that we're law enforcement, but they're not employed by the city per se, or they didn't have the legal rights to enforce the authority that they was trying to enforce. And then argue the fact, I'm law enforcement, I can enforce whatever authority I want. One of those very bad situations. That's even in 2002. We're talking almost, 20 years ago? It's not close. It's 17 years ago. Almost to the date. It's in the time range between July and September of 2002. So, might as well say 17 years ago. Anyways, going to go ahead and end this. I know I didn't explain it great. Very incompetent to a certain extent, due to being made incompetent. Very ill to the point of the feeling of brain failure in people, and the ridiculement of go get help. I've tried that too. I've been to the doctors, hospitals, all the rest. They don't know what's wrong, or they're participating with, somebody is telling us not to handle your situation right. And they're also trying to make it out it's law enforcement, like I have been stripped of my lifeable rights, my health, the rights to get health care and everything else. So, if they're stripping me, it should be on paper. I've talked to a psychiatrist. They should have paperwork. They shouldn't allow, in normal sense of normal, even though it may be possible, but normally, when you're trying to put it in a normal level, that's not correct. It'd have to be an exuberated amount or a situation that is abnormal while they're trying to ridicule. It's not too hard to deal with. It's normal to us, or it's normal, trying to enforce that it's normal and creating a mental health condition out of it intentionally. Schizoid, they don't need to be calling names to get their case finished up. And they've done this for over more than a decade. Hell, even since 2002, it wouldn't have mattered. Social works and attacking. Human slavery, human trafficking, cartel, 1 minute intelligence and enforcement, captivity type of tactics, to law enforcement, captivity type of tactics. I'm the law, you listen to me. Even though you got all these auditors, there's a lot of things that you can learn that even though at the time when you're taken advantage of, you're being taken advantage of, but later on you realize you was taken advantage of illegally. But with that being said, whereas carrying that out, just a bunch of shit. And they don't need to be discriminating for 10 years, destroying a person that if you profiled, you should be able to see the leads, which it's not their responsibility if there's a criminal case to put together your life. They're putting together a case. But anyways, there's no lenience in it, but they don't need to be utilizing schizoid trying to cause an effect, especially when it's expressed that somebody's already tried to do damage, sabotage, and everything under the sun to destroy that person's life or make hectic and harshness in it. They didn't need it to be it's no different than them participating with the criminal acts themselves. And they're getting away with it. We have a right to utilize tactics. Whatever breaks you. Whatever makes, it doesn't matter. If it's broke, it was broken prior. You just added fuel to the fire of allowing criminal acts, which turns into, there's already proof in the past of police being paid to allow transportation of drugs from the cities and peoples that I was connected to. Besides that, them association, that's even going back to 2002, participating with community crime and possibility associated with criminal cartels, even though influencing them to participate, even if they're not affiliated by the gang or cartel, they're still listening and associating. It was a deep way of wording things that got complicated to understand, but no matter what, there's ones that are associated. They like to laugh, the feeling of being, a part of a social group, even though if they're not like member, they wasn't invited like a gang member, but being just grouply applied to the situation is illegal, much less those are being paid off, participating intentionally. It just carried on out. They told me to call the police on the police anytime that I see a police cruiser or suspicious activity, and they put like a fucking 72-hour watch on the place that I was staying, day and night. They had a SWAT team of people come in from multitudes of different divisions and basically fucking, excuse the language, came after the people that was creating some of the trouble. Back then, the statistics, I showed up in the city and the crime rate rose 700% in 30 days. And they was trying to put together criminal intelligence on that situation. So, police working with criminal intelligence, there's corrupt police working, and like, we'll sabotage it and make it look like this, and then it takes all this work, but there's more to it than that. It's not just sabotage. It ain't just like fucking 30 years ago, hey, we'll tell you what to confess to, you better, or else we'll make it harder on you. It's easier to go this way to take the better deal than not. And 30 years later, you have people being released from prison, DNA proven that they didn't commit the frickin' crime, and on top, was screaming and whistleblowing 30 years ago that somebody coerced them into doing it, or, it should have been added up that something didn't jive back then. Same tactic still being played. Never changed. Never, 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 never changed. Anyways, ending this video. You all have fun. Take care. Be uploading this to YouTube. Hopefully it's a lot of rambling, but makes some type of sense. Intentionally sabotaging somebody's life, wrecking their quality of life, wrecking their social life to social life death, which I've talked to a county psychiatrist, psychologist about that, and some of that shit's crossing the line to being life-threatening, understood, and should be understood by the system, no different than somebody threatening you with a gun, and or basically shooting you with the gun, trying to physically take your life, even though it's not physical, mental, social, communally, the things that are necessity to live with, they're destroying. So that does mean it'll create a physical, it could create physical unhealthiness, if not resort in real physical death, but no matter what, not to be able to do anything socially, social death. It's the same. Once it crosses a certain amount of boundaries, certain lines, certain guidelines and stuff like that, it is still considered lethal threat. Legally, I do believe, is what she was trying to explain, as being lethal threat. Not just harassment, it being life-threatening situation from the individuals that are doing it. And whomever. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Targetofunlawfulacts.com. Peace. I'm out of here.